And I'm Sean Cashin.
Today, we're talking about fine art, fine food, and fine Florida.
You think you've seen television? Well, wait till you see this.
Right here on the Journal. From this country, we Canadians live in an environment of year-round freezing temperatures amongst polar bears and ice monsters that feast on our youngins.
But one brave man finally escaped this frosty regime to visit a land that we've only seen on our black and white televisions. A land where the seniors and the elderly coexist in one big geriatric paradise.
So turn your hearing aids up, because we're going down to the magical world of Florida to take a look at what makes Sarasota a premier tourist destination of the world. Here's the great Sammy Pierce. Yeah.
Welcome to Sarasota. Let's take a drive. Sarasota is located on the southwestern coast of Florida. It's in between Manatee County and Charlotte County. The three together form Florida's 7th largest region. Sarasota is home to 53,000 Americans, most are over the age of 70. While Florida as a whole is a popular choice for seniors to retire, I noticed more seniors in Sarasota specifically. My friend's grandparents have a condo down there, and we recently visited on Reading Week. This is St. Armand's Circle, a hotspot in Sarasota, featuring many shops and restaurants. No matter what you're looking for, St. Armand's Circle has got it. Be prepared to spend some cash though, because Sarasota is for rich old people. Welcome home. This is our lovely condo in Sarasota. Gonna need those sunglasses because the average temperature in Sarasota is 22 degrees Celsius. Our condo isn't quite beachfront, but it's the next best thing. And speaking of beaches, Sarasota has 6 islands with countless beaches to choose from. Sarasota's got it all the heat of Florida, without all the crowds. Next time you're looking for somewhere different to go on vacation, give Sarasota a try.
Phenomenal. This of arts, crafted with such mastery and attention to detail that only Leonardo da Vinci, combined with the sorcery of Merlin, could have conceived this work of magic.
I personally think it's monstrous. It looks sort of like a Siberian tiger was skinned and sewn onto this canvas. I'd literally rather give myself a paper cut along the cornea of my eye than to even have to look at this.
Well, everyone has different opinions, whether they're sophisticated and educated like myself, or completely idiotic like Sean.
Yeah, anyways, this next piece of art explains Daniel Reed's meaning of the artistic expression deep within his soul. Check it out. Yeah.
I'm not kind of like a depressed artist or usually like, oh, well, fuck my life, fuck everything, art sucks, blah, blah, blah. I usually just like what I do. Sometimes it's not even about making art, I just kind of like to draw, so that's mostly like what kind of person I am. 'Cause I just love using brush strokes, I just love like just going crazy at the paint and like mixing a palette, like that's the whole fun of it, right? Just mixing your recipe, like putting things together. Then finally when you apply it and you see something you like, you can go with it, and then you keep going with it, you keep finding better things, you keep finding a better palette, and it's just about learning, right? So it's like, that's what I usually default to. What I want people to feel is the emotion behind the drawings and paintings. It's not about the factor of whether it's visually striking. It's usually just like, I like story development, and I like the emotion behind whatever thing I'm drawing, whether it be a portrait, being dark like that, kind of moody, just stuff like that. It's like, I don't care if it's visually stunning, I just want that story to be presentable at that time when they're looking at it. You know, when my stomach feels like eating itself, there's only one food that can satisfy my hunger. Isn't that right, Sean? 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 Where are you, Sean? Sean?
Let's feast on this documentary about Toronto's best burgers. Bon appetit!
Oh, hi there. My name's Sean Cashin, and I'm going on a trek throughout the city of Toronto right now to find out where the best burgers are in the entire city to help you get your hands on some delicious grub. I've traveled far and wide throughout the city to find out what is the most delicious burger in town. This week, I'm traveling to Dundas Square in the heart of Toronto to check out Five Guys. And then I'm gonna go to the far west of Toronto to check out the glorious burgers over at Parts and Labor. Let's go take a look. I'm here at Five Guys Burgers, a U.S. chain that's now here in the lovely city of Toronto, serving up fresh burgers. That's good enough for Obama. He says it's his favorite burger. Is it gonna be mine? Let's go in and find out. Tell me why Five Guys is the best burger in not only Toronto, but North America as well.
Okay, so first of all our products are fresh. Like we don't use, for the patties, we don't use any fridge. And all our patties are really juicy.
It was juicy.
Juicy.
It was juicy. It was good.
Well, here it is. Five Guys burger, beautiful sesame seed bun. And I figure if it's good enough for Obama, it's gonna be good enough for me. So here we go, on with the first bite. Now, for a fast food burger, the meat is quality. You can tell it's not frozen.
Nothing's frozen here.
It's fresh meat. And how was the meat quality?
It was juicy. It was soft. It was good.
Well, overall, very, very successfully delicious burger. For a fast food chain restaurant, I gotta say this is easily the best burger I've had. It beats McDonald's, Burger King, even Wendy's. This is pretty top notch. I think that if Canada was smart, Toronto was smart, to be putting Five Guys all over the city. Now for best burger in Toronto, I wouldn't go that far. It's got the processed cheese. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like a real slice of cheese. But aside from that, the meat was great. It was fresh, it was juicy.
Juicy.
Five Guys burgers, I'm gonna give it a good 7 out of 10. Not up there with the best burgers in Toronto, but definitely a top-notch fast food chain restaurant. So I'm here at Parts and Labor. It's Wednesday night, it's burger night, and I'm ready for a burger. Let's go check it out.
It's the meat, it's the onion jam, it's the bacon. It's just the fucking best burger I've ever had, honestly.
And we cook it in a very traditional American style. So it's on the flat top, fresh ground meat, squish it down once, flip it over once. You don't touch it too often. Just keep it simple. It gets that nice crust on either side, and it creates one of those, it's like crusty on the outside, but super soft in the middle, and it falls apart. So you don't pack the burgers together. It's like an old school way of making burgers, the American style, and we do the same thing.
So here it is, the Parts and Labor burger. The presentation's beautiful. So here we go. I'm gonna go with my first bite. The texture of the meat is just beautiful. Your teeth sink right in. It's like butter.
I don't have words to describe this burger, man. It's so fucking good.
How many of these do you eat a day?
I probably eat one a day, actually. Be honest, come on. All right, like 3 or 4 a day.
The Parts and Labor burger, that was absolutely fantastic. The meat was just perfect. Juicy, fresh, unbelievable. Parts and Labor, 9 out of 10. Fantastic burgers all around. The toppings, the quality. You gotta come here. Have a great burger. Oh, wow. Were those ever some mighty delicious burgers. I want to thank everybody at Five Guys, and especially Parts and Labor, for supplying me with some of the best burgers in all of Toronto. Tune in next week, where I go to Cosmic Burgers to try their out-of-this-world burger, and hopefully it'll send me into outer space. I'm Sean Cashin, hitting the streets to find out where you should eat to put the best meat in your mouth. Good night, everybody.
I'm ready, Sean. I once watched a show that made my life complete. It's a show called The Journal, and it's really neat. So sit back and let us tell you about how much the show is worth. It cured the Black Plague and saved our Earth.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I love The Journal, and The Journal loves me. It's the greatest show in television history. The Sopranos was the and the West Wing was a bore. I'm surprised that they never canceled 24. Because compared to The Journal, all the shows get blown away. It's like comparing the Quran to 50 Shades of Grey. Everything you want to see is here on this show.
So listen to Matt with his vocal solo.
The Journal, we're talking about the Journal, the Journal, the Journal. It's the one and only Journal.
You see, what we're telling you might sound absurd.
But a wise man once spoke these words.
He said, as long as there's the Journal, no other show will suffice.
And that man's name was Jesus Christ.
1, 2, 3, that's why
I love The Journal, and The Journal loves me. It makes The Godfather look like Godfather 3. So gather up the whole entire family for the greatest show in TV history. Now, here's a documentary all about musicians and music.
rock on.
John Doe can go and die in a corner, die in a corner. John Doe can go and die in a corner. The summer rage fell out.
A scared little girl. Like, what kind of personality do I think this person is? A smart, cynical person.
I'm guessing based on lyrics, it could be something dark, like something personal, something about dying in the corner.
John Doe can go and die in a corner.
Tortured artist. Someone who's loved and lost.
John Doe can go and die in a corner.
I didn't like it. She was like, dying in the corner. Like, I guess she's passionate about it, but no.
Oops, I'm a rich fell out. I like it so much better when there's someone to blame.
It felt like she was mad, right? You could tell that she had something on her mind, because that was the only line she said completely. John, go die in a corner.
John Doe can go and die in a corner.
Well, suicidal thoughts, depression, or maybe just like releasing that anger out.
Oops, I'm a rich fell out.
I really don't know like what her personality was. She sounded kind of emo and she sounded passionate.
Well, the one line that kind of was repeated over and over again that I heard was, John Doe can go die in a corner. So that sounds like hatred toward somebody named John Doe. Somebody clearly whom she does not want to live.
Die in a corner.
I'm totally not the person I am when I play my guitar. So I'm a hermit. I spend my entire life in my basement apartment with the blinds shut. And I sit there with my guitar most of the time, or, you know, watch The Simpsons. That's my entire life. And I'm very boring.
John Doe can go and die in a corner. I'm not sorry, my rage fell out.
I don't think it would be right to judge him based on personality just because he sang one song. I'd probably have to dissect the song a little bit more to actually make a judgment on his character.
The instrumentals, like, it's fucking elevator music, and I like that he owned it. And you know, it's not for everyone, but he probably makes it for himself, but I respect that.
Head down to that stereo blaring, some staring up.
I thought the song was kind of confusing because at first it had like one mood, but then when he started singing, it kind of changed to another thing.
Laid back, more chill individual, floating on a cloud 9 maybe.
And still the most boastful individuals, the cold blows of mold roll fast, the residual masses who make the only passes, put on the glasses and send the shipment to rap molasses.
I guess he's a groovy character from the beat itself. Right, I didn't understand the lyrics, but you could tell, I guess he's having a good time. You know, I didn't hear any swear words or profanity or threats or, you know, name drops.
Coffee breaks, and if my vows break, just leave me in the lake. Get hold no funeral service for the love's sake. My mistake, call me out.
A focused person, like he has a focus and he's trying to go for it. Even though I didn't understand the lyrics, I kind of felt that in his voice.
You can feel who this person is with the awkward drum beat, with the, you know, cheesy church organ.
Love to see a scientist who scurried down to the lab and sat perplexed by this habitat of a bunch of rabbits in a hat, let alone a population.
I picture like a carefree joker of an Asian dude. I totally picture an Asian dude.
Head down to that stereo blaring, so staring out the whole block, walking around talking, but everything is neutral anyway.
You can tell he's like a talented guy, probably a class clown in real life, or really introverted, if you want me to analyze the person.
Clearly he's very creative, like he's very skilled. I mean, a person could, you know, be very introverted but still be outspoken in their music.
I would say I'm like somewhat introverted. I like to keep to myself, pretty quiet a lot of the time. I like to see the humor in a lot of things, I guess. The whole hip-hop relationship with like dominance and like the male image is like, I feel like I'm not part of that at all. So it's interesting working with hip-hop like that.
Welcome back to the Journal. Say, Sean, you got a buck?
Sorry, Matt, but I live in Toronto.
Good point, Sean. Toronto's an expensive city, but here's a bunch of globetrotters who set out to prove that just about anyone can see Toronto, no matter how poor they might be. Bon voyage!
The great city of Toronto, one of the most ethnically diverse places in the entire world. And it's Canada's leader in business, media, education, finance, and tourism. And that sounds expensive, right? Well, that's why I'm here to show you how to experience Toronto without breaking the bank. When traveling anywhere in the world, you want to be efficient. So here are my 6 personal rules that are essential when visiting Toronto. Rule number 1, pack lightly. There's no need to bring things that you'll barely use. Extra weight in your luggage can be the difference between climbing a mountain and missing out on the adventure altogether. Only bring what's necessary. Rule number 2, avoid tourist traps. Websites like TripAdvisor may rate certain attractions highly, but these places are usually overly expensive and assessed by tourists who travel with Louis Vuitton luggage. Some sites like the CN Tower are must-sees for the first-time traveler, but try and find a discount before you head up there. Rule number 3, ask the locals. When in Toronto, do what the Torontonians do. For the best places in the city, only those who live here will know where to go. Make a friend and tell them what you're looking for. Even if they might not know, they'll probably know someone who does. Rule number 4, use a hotel concierge for directions. The concierge booth in hotels are made to help out travelers to know where they're going. If you're ever lost, walk in and speak to a hotel attendant. They could even give you tips on what to see and do. Rule number 5, find a McDonald's or Starbucks for free Wi-Fi. Being stranded without any contact information in a city you don't know is never a good time. Take advantage of the massive amount of McDonald's and Starbucks and use their free Wi-Fi. Rule number 6, don't like the cold? Don't come in the winter. Toronto is a completely different city in the summertime, filled with outdoor activities and festivals every day of the week. The weather can be a bit harsh in the winter, so if you can't stand the cold, then avoid Toronto from November to April. Oh hey, didn't see you there. Taking a look at the city as I am, are you? Well, there are literally thousands of possibilities to have fun in this place, but where to start? That's why we hit the streets to ask the locals to find out what's the best option for you to enjoy the city on the cheap. Toronto is a vast megacity with many of its attractions and destinations scattered throughout. So to get a true sense of what the city has to offer, you're gonna want a cheap way to get around.
TTC.
Oh, TTC for sure.
TTC, for sure. The only way, the TTC. The better way.
Well, unfortunately, I take the TTC.
I got no other choice. Yeah, there's really no other way to go.
Well, it's the cheapest way of getting around. $3 beats taking a taxi, so.
Usually the efficiency, I find it's, I don't know, like especially on days like this, if it's really cold and you're coming home with a ton of stuff, it's easy to just be able to have a Metro Pass and pop on a bus to help yourself get home.
The better way, I suppose. Cheapest.
I usually use the subway because it's almost always on time, and it's pretty cost effective for students, so it works out really well.
It runs frequent, it runs late. You can take the all-night bus home.
There's tons of exciting options when it comes to having fun in Toronto. You can check out a concert or one of the many festivals. You can hang out in the suitably titled entertainment district, or something as simple as just walking around in a park. My personal favorite though, Scene hockey.
The city's got lots of great festivals, lots of, good things to keep you entertained.
Daytime, I mean, there's so many festivals going on throughout the summer, whether it be, the arts and entertainment or sporting events or...
all the art exhibits that are going on. Toronto's a lively city. They got a lot going on as far as entertainment goes.
There's a lot of live music, entertainment, a lot of good food.
Movies? Love movies. Preferably Tuesdays because it's cheaper.
Even just walking around, doesn't have a ton of history, but what it does is actually pretty interesting. I mean, even the area that we're standing in right now has a lot of history to it.
A lot of walking around. I mean, it's always a good day to go for a walk through one of the parks, especially in the summer.
The beautiful thing about this city is you can walk from one end of downtown to the other. You can go through all the different neighborhoods that experience the different cultures. There's so much you can do just from walking, getting the exercise, checking out the city. You don't really have to spend a lot of money to enjoy what it has to offer. You can definitely, think ahead and say, hey, you know what? When I got the coin, this is where I'm going to go. But sightsee. I mean, there's plenty to see and do here, and you don't really need a heck of a lot of money. Just be creative. That's all.
Oh, day in the summer, tight budget. All right, I would probably see where I could find a nice area downtown where I'm able to steal some Wi-Fi and just grab a coffee and a hot dog and chillax right on the spot where I can steal some Wi-Fi.
There's always somebody creating something in Toronto. It's really just fun to walk around and see what's being built here, because that's one thing about the city is that it's always changing and you can watch it happen.
There's plenty to do during the daytime on the cheap. So you don't really have to invest too much into the beautiful outdoors that we have here.
So you're walking around the city, you're enjoying the sights and smells, and then all of a sudden, hunger strikes. Put aside your temptations of having a fine duck a la bleu dinner, because there are many cheap options in the city for you to eat at without going over budget.
Yeah, I mean, cheap is definitely something that customers are into, so if you could find a good price point for your food, I'm sure you could probably get a good crowd.
Some restaurants now, like Worse, I think it's on King West, kind of has a format where you go up and order a meal and get a number and sit down at a big long communal table with a whole bunch of other people. And I've made friends there, people you don't know are in line next to you. It's really fun. I really like that format right now.
Well, now there's so many. There's a lot of food trucks in the city, especially in the spring and summertime. And in those food trucks, you can get, there's a large variety of different flavors, if you will. So, I would definitely, if you're new to the city, try that. They're all over the city.
Well, street meat is great, but unfortunately in the West End, we don't see too many of those. So yeah, if I'm downtown in the core, street meat is a must.
Well, definitely hit up the sales at any grocery store. Really help.
You got Mickey D's. If you're in a hurry, you go to Mickey D's, right? Timmy's is always closed, for a nice warm coffee. Yeah, there's lots of places to eat here. There's every second place. Mama's Pizza there, delicious pizza, yeah.
There's certain areas throughout the city, King Street West, anywhere on College, Bloor. You'll never go hungry in the city.
Well, that's it, guys. I gave you places to eat, where to sleep, how to get around, and where to have fun in this magnificent city of Toronto. And I also gave you 6 essential traveling tips to make you at home a better traveler. I want to thank all the people on the streets that helped us out, and we'll see you next time.
Well, that's it for today's show.
Matt, I think we've learned something today.
That's right, Sean. We saw that Sarasota, Florida is a world premiere tourist destination.
We also learned that Parts and Labor has Toronto's best burger, and that there are many amazing things to do in this lovely city without going broke.
And wasn't that musical act something else?
Wow, they sure were fantastic.
They were so good.
Oh my Lord.
The best music I have ever seen in my life.
Honestly, the Beatles, Elvis were something else, but we were fantastic. I'm Sean Cashin.
And I'm Matthew Fleming.
This is The Journal. See ya.
Bye.
Ciao.
one more time.